The following is brought to you by PaulAkers.net.
So without any further ado, we're going to fly from Atlanta to South Wales to Rototherm. And Paul, over to you.
Well, we all have the great privilege of seeing a world-class company that's being recognized by companies around the world for their extraordinary operational excellence. And Oliver and his team have done an extraordinary job. And so I'm not going to say any more than that, other than we're lucky to get a peek inside this amazing company that's burgeoning and growing like crazy. Oliver, it's all yours.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm Oliver. I'm the Managing Director of Rototherm Group. Firstly, Paul and Richard, thank you so much for putting on these virtual tours. You've been doing these two-second lean tours for now 6 months. And I think on behalf of myself, the lean community, we just want to say a massive thank you to you guys. I've seen firsthand the work you guys do to help companies put these together. So it is a tremendous thing you guys do. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Our pleasure.
So Rototherm, yes, so we are here in South Wales, which is about 4 hours west of London. And today we're going to show you around our facility. So Rototherm Group is actually 180 years old. And we've got two divisions. We've got firstly a instrumentation division where we make precision sensors measuring pressure, temperature, level and flow. And they're going into pretty demanding applications. So some examples of those, we measure the pressure on nuclear reactors that go on defense submarines that go around the world. Wow. We provide the alcohol measurement that measures the alcohol level in the distillery process for whiskey. So the quality of your whiskey is dependent on the right alcohol level. So if you've got a bad whiskey, then they've probably not used one of our equipment. The world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, uses our flow measurement, ultrasonic flow measurement, to monitor the water going around that tower. So obviously they don't want that system falling down. We also have our telemetry products that are going across the world into LPG applications, a lot over in the US and a lot into Mexico. We've got our food thermometers. So a lot of the very large catering brands, people like IKEA, use our food thermometers to ensure the food is of the right temperature so that the people that eat it, obviously are fine. And then down to our thermal wells. Our thermal wells are going into some critical applications, offshore pipelines or chemical plants, to ensure that they run well. So all of this depends on absolute exceptional quality, exceptional reliability and accuracy. You can imagine if these don't work or something goes wrong, the disasters are absolutely severe. So it's really, really critical what we're working in. The second division we have in the business, and this is we started at the start of 2020, is a medical division. So we started manufacturing PPE. So we're looking at face masks, medical face masks, face coverings, reusable face coverings, and also goggles, PPE goggles. So we did a partnership with one of the world's largest safety eyewear brands called Bolle. They were looking for a site within Europe with which to work with to manufacture their products. Most of it was getting manufactured in Taiwan. And they selected us out of all other companies they visited around Europe because of our quality, because of our agility and what they saw in us. So, we're really proud of that. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to walk down to the shop floor from this area, and I'm just going to give you a bit of a history about Rototherm, and we're going to cover 3 different topics. So Rototherm Group now, we've got 3 manufacturing sites. This is the main one down in South Wales. We've got another one just west of London, another one near Liverpool. We've got 5 sales and services offices worldwide and roughly about 200 people working in the organization. And we bought the business, myself and my brother, around about 10 years ago. We acquired it. Both of us were from corporate backgrounds. I was working for a large Japanese conglomerate. My brother was working in the corporate finance area. And we thought, hey, wouldn't it be fun to try and do something ourselves? So we acquired Rototherm, and the business we bought was, to be honest, a bit of a bomb site. So I got some picture here, which pretty much describes what we acquired. This was on day one.
Oh my God.
This is what it looked like. So this picture here, the door behind me is that same door. So this is what the entire site. So here we've got a 70,000 square foot site here.
Wow.
This is what it looked like everywhere. The entire place. It was a mess. It was chaotic. It was disorganized. No one was motivated, and it was a tough environment. But I just thought, okay, don't worry. Let's just grow sales. Let's just go and buy some more businesses. This is really easy to do this. And we just added more complexity. We just added more problems, and it just got so damn stressful. And if you'd have asked me 8 years ago, well, did you empower your people? Did you help your people? Yeah, I said, look, you're empowered. Go do it. And the guys were like, what, my frigging machine's not even working. What are you on about? Empowerment. Did I respect? Yeah, I respected my people, but I couldn't be bothered to even give them a nice canteen to eat their dinner from. So around about 5-6 years ago, we looked at lean from some of the experience I had working in Japan. And we went and got some consultants in, and we spent a lot of money we didn't have or we could not afford to lose. And they'd come in and we'd sort of sell out, and we'd come out with all these fancy value stream maps and these incredible Japanese words, and, say, look how wonderful it is, and it's all nice and tidy and everything. They'd leave, and a week later, it was back to the exact same state it was from. So, we need to do more of it then. So we just piled more money in. We want more consultants in, and we hit them with a say that you must do it this way. It's much better. We know best. And they went back to the same way. And it got to the point I just became sort of quite desperate. And by chance, I think like most people, I saw one of Paul's videos. I think I contacted Paul, and then it was one of those light bulb moments to simplify everything, get that complexity out. So we started doing the morning meetings. We started implementing 2-second lean to try and change our culture here. It's not just about any culture. You want an improvement culture, a culture where people enjoy coming to work and want to make stuff and want to make their customers happy. And you saw Valorec yesterday. They've had an incredible transformation so quick at how they did it. We didn't have that. It took us months and months before things started to change. So I couldn't pick an exact day, but things slowly started to get better. And then must have been 3 years ago, I had the chance to go over to Germany to visit Yellow Tools. Michael there, who's an absolute bonkers, but the most crazy guy and amazing guy ever. And he was showing me around his facility, and we're in the canteen, and their canteen is like one of the best restaurants or bars you've ever been in. I mean, it's absolutely awesome, this place. And I was chatting to Mark. I was like, well, why would you make this? Have you not got other things to buy, like, machines, and make yourself more efficient, all this? And I can't remember his exact words, but essentially it was like, Oliver, if you can't be asked to prioritize your people and give them something nice to have their food in, forget the damn machines, forget trying to do this and all the other. And it was one of those where I was like, the moments. And I came back from there, and I think the very first thing I did said, right, guys, let's rip up the toilets, let's rip up the canteens, and let's make them world class. And that really was a major point where the people in this organization said, right, this guy actually cares. He's not just talking a load of crap. He actually cares about us. And that was really when we started to see some major improvements. So today I want to cover 3 things throughout this tour. One, give you an insight into the way we think here in Rototherm and our improvement culture. Secondly, I want to cover our innovation process. So for the first 8 years of our ownership here, we tried to do development. We tried to come up with new products, and the result was 0. We didn't come out with one single product. And in the last 2 years, we changed things around. We really, went back to basics, understood it, simplified, as Paul always tells me, simplified it, or pull your finger out your your arse, as it sometimes tells me. And we made it so simple. We've launched 16 products in the last 2 years. And these, typically in our industry, it takes minimum 6 months to get a product launch with all the certifications and the product testing. We did 16. It was just phenomenal. And it's changed our business 1,000%. So we've had a 5x growth in the last 5 years of Rototherm. So I want to talk a bit about that innovation process, some of the things we learned. Because it's not so easy to pick up about that. And I think Paul was really good on the Fast Cap tour, where they gave an insight of how quickly they develop products and get it to the customers, get their feedback and get it into the marketplace. And that makes such a difference. So that's one thing. The third thing I want to cover is about our communication model. So this is something one of our non-executive directors, who runs an incredibly successful business that's won more Queen's Awards in the UK than any other engineering business. He's got about 2,000 employees. And this is a thing he taught me. And it was 4 things: clarity, focus, unity, action. Without clarity, you can't do anything. You can't focus. Without that clarity, you can't focus. Without focus, you can't unite as a team. And without uniting, you can't get action done. So that clarity there. So how do we get clarity in our organization? So we put in place, started to get a management system, or a system to run our business. And that's what we're going to come across today. It's starting from at the very start of the day, the 3Sing, the daily meetings in each of our sales across the whole group, then into a leadership meeting where we're trying to find problems. That's what we're trying to hunt for. Where's the problems in this business? Let's go fix them. And then, twice a week, we have what we call a 2-second lean meeting, but really it's a learning and development and sharing meeting. And that's what we're going to cover today on our communication side. But it all starts with clarity. Lots of people have meetings. Lots of people say, oh, we do that. But is it structured? Is it aligned? Do you get what you want out of meetings? So what I'm going to pass you over to Tom. Tom joined the business as an apprentice about 5 years ago. So he's going to cover a bit about himself and also about the 3S side of things. So just pass you over to Tom.
Thanks, Oliver. Can everyone hear me all right?
Hi, Tom.
Yep, perfect. Perfect, Tom.
Good.
Welcome.
I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on myself. I started in 2016, just when Rototherm started their lean journey. So I came in just at the right time to get on board. We started doing things like Kaizen, so continuous improvement. They started teaching me what 3S was, how to use Kanban, what high junker boards was. And I just couldn't believe how people don't do it more often, because it was making our job day to day easier. I just don't understand why people wouldn't be on board with it. So we just got straight into it and stuck, and it's been really good since. And then that goes on to my next point of one of Rototherm's principle. So principle 1 for Rototherm is grow people. And then that's where I come into that. I'm quite a good example of it. I came in 2016 when I was 21 as an apprentice. I did my time serving mechanical engineering, and then I moved on to be an electronics team leader. So they seen in me, invested the time on me, and I progressed into that. And then after that, they invested me in again. We acquired a new company, acquisition. It was all brilliant. We were expanding. And then I grew into an electronics manager. So within the past 6 years, I've gone from apprentice to electronics manager. So I just wanted to touch on that, how they really stand behind their principles. And then after that, now I just want to talk about the 3S and what we do in the day. So I'm standing in the Roto workshop. And so the first 30 minutes of the day, we do 3S in and continuous improvement. So 15 minutes in the start, we do sweep, sort, and standardize. We get everything in order, sort everything out, and make improvements. And then the second 15 minutes, we do the continuous improvements in the Roto workshop. So it's anything and everything is fully equipped. So we got boards, Kaizen form, all the tubing we need to build cells. We got floor mats. We got the wheels, all the fittings and everything for the tubing. We got all the bolts, screws, all the tooling, everything is here you need to do it. So first 15 minutes, 3S, and then cut straight into your continuous improvements. So something, if you just pan back around, Alice, you can have a look at the board. So a project we're working in the minute, working in the electronics division. and it's rapidly growing. We just can't keep up. So we really need to change our mindset and our state of mind, the way we approach this now. So we gathered everyone together, done a little exercise, we figured out we need to redesign ourselves. So we all came together, we logged on to a quick webinar and just had a look at some ideas. We picked out what stations we want to do, because we want to be filling the stock up from behind, just-in-time production, right? We want this cell. What do we want it to be like? We want a lean line. Do we want it in a U-shaped cell? So we all panned together and figured out what we need to do, because they are the guys who are going to be doing it. They are the ones who know best. So we came up with a plan, and now we're trying to implement it. So the first 15 minutes, as you can see, they've started off some of the cells now. So they're building them all up. They'll come in and do this all by themselves. We got rollers on because we want to try and get that flow of work going back and forth. And we really just trying to improve the process. And then during this is where we go on to our daily meetings. So that's where I want to hand over to Matt Davis, and we're going to walk down now, and Matt's going to go over a bit of that. So Matt Davis is a flow engineer, one of our best at that. I think you'll appreciate me saying that. And he's going to go over our daily meetings. So we all have these daily meetings across the board. I'll have one in electronics. Matt will have one down in flow. He's going to go through the agenda, how we go down from the shop floor down to leadership meetings, and then down to run the business, so they can go all the way throughout and everyone's aligned on the vision. So I'm just going to pass you over to Matt now, and he's going to go through that.
Fantastic job.
Thanks, Tom. Hey guys,
Matt.
I'm Matt. I've started here 4 years ago after doing a mechanical engineering degree. I came in as a project engineer, helping out the project managers on various large orders going through the company. On this cell here, we make thermal wells. Here's one. They come in all shapes and sizes. The industry standard lead time on a thermal well is 6 weeks. With our continuous improvement and learning every day, sharing ideas, we've now got our standard lead time down to 3 working days.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's a pretty big jump. Yeah. The key to that really is we meet here every morning, full team at this board, and we run through our agenda. We take it in turns to host the meeting. So it's very, it's driven by the team, not by management. And a lot of this is handwritten. For example, the agenda over there, we'll change that on the fly as the team decides. So there's nothing set in stone. We can really do what we want down here.
So I have a question.
Yeah, go on.
What was the #1 thing that allowed you to go from 6 weeks to 3 days? I want to know how that happened.
Sure. Yeah. I would say getting the flow of the production right. So working with the team to make sure that the orders flow through in a sensible way. So we used to wait up to 2 working days to get the stuff picked from stores. So we moved the stores to on the cell. So now the guys who know the products are picking the material themselves. Same with, I'll just show you here quickly, the packing section, Paul. We used to pack down at the far end of the factory, 2-minute walk away. So we built our own packing cell up here. So the guys with the product knowledge are packing the products as well, taking pride in it. And also they know how to pack them well. Like I said, they come in all shapes and sizes. So our customers are much happier now. You know, everything's arrived in there in good condition.
So I want to say 2 things so far that I've observed in the tour that I think is very, very, very important to point out to everyone. Oliver said they were chose for the PPE jobs because of their agility. And I think this is so critical for everyone to understand. In a 2-second lean environment, the ability for you to respond quickly, because people see problems and are addressing problems as the leadership team is at Rototherm, it adds to your agility exponentially. And here, again, you see the agility going from 6 weeks to 3 days. And then the second point is connecting the work. It sounds like that's what you're doing. You're bringing all the work together instead of all this massive transportation and motion that traditionally is overlooked by most companies.
Yeah, exactly right, Paul. Completely agree. You know, the guys are no longer waiting for other sections. They've got the power to do everything they need to get the product out on time right here on the cell.
Connect the
I'll
work.
just show you. Yeah, exactly. I'll just show you our improvement tracker on the back of this, where we share our lean ideas and make a to-do list. And then we'll assign 1 task to each member of the team. And the idea being there's only space for 1 task at a time to ingrain 1 piece flow in the team from the beginning in the morning meeting.
Wow.
Never seen that before.
No,
That's
I've
cool.
never seen it before. That's very cool.
It's working really well. Yeah. Yeah. Off the back
Such
of that,
great innovation.
Yeah. Yeah. Early 2020, we actually won our largest ever contract for these Thermowell products, which allowed us to invest further in the cell and get some brand new machinery. I'll just show you quickly. Our new engraver over here is a great example of that.
What does a Thermowell cost? What does one of those devices cost? Those measuring tools, just ballpark.
Okay.
$2,000.
The big ones could be around 1,000, and small ones, all the way down to 50 quid. It completely depends. That was one of the challenges, Paul, was they're all so different. It depends on the customer. They're all designed for the customer. So we had to be very agile.
Wow.
So this is our old engraver, very reliable, nothing wrong with it at all. But like I said, we won that biggest ever contract, and now we've really upped the volume, and it just couldn't handle the volume. So we were able to invest in this new engraver. I'll just run this quickly. And now we can use this to. Is this on?
Is this a laser engraver?
This is a laser engraver, Paul. That's right. Yeah, that's running now. Yeah. So we can now automate the system a bit more and look up the details that need to be engraved and drag in things like customer logos. So, for example, there you go. AME virtual tour. So obviously the old one would struggle with the logo. Yeah. Awesome. So it's that easy now. It's so easy to use, but we've still got the old engraver. One of the ideas being there's a backup plan for everything. So if anything goes wrong, we have a plan. Okay. At each station, we've got little magnets with reaction plan. So everyone knows what to do if something goes wrong. So no products.
Job. Oh my gosh.
The machinery will never hold anything up. Oliver, this one. I'll just pass you back to Oliver. Thanks, guys.
Great job. Fantastic.
Absolutely phenomenal. A reaction plan. I love that. Never seen that before either.
Oliver, your team is amazing. Everyone's just incredible.
Yeah, I just want to jump in on here. Yeah, that happened. So we've got this this contract that we secured. 10x growth on that contract from what we were doing. So we used to have, I think you can probably see it, we used to have a few old lathes and a drill, and the team secured this, and it was a 8-month program to get qualified. So they'd not changed suppliers for over 20 years, and they brought us in there. I think they had 3 German suppliers for this organization. So we had to go and redesign this area. We sort of completely reconfigured. Matt and the team spent about 4 months researching what is the best equipment and the leanest equipment that we can work with. And we just didn't know what to get. So everything from, it's a Japanese machine tool, drills, to the actual pressure testing, to the die pen table, to the, laser engraver. We worked on things and put everything on wheels on here, all done by the team and all using their genius. In times gone by, we'd have just gone and said, right, let's go buy this table, let's go buy that. This table's probably changed 5 times in the last 5 months to get it to what they wanted. And we had a problem about a month ago where this went down, and we called up the company, the supplier. They meant to be able to respond within 24 hours. The person was away on holiday, and they said, look, we're really sorry, but it's going to be a week. And we're like, we've got a guarantee within 3 days to apply this product. So it's like, what the hell are we going to do? So we came up now with a backup plan. If that goes down, there's an immediate backup plan that we work to, and we're just rolling that out across all of our equipment in the cell. So I think the guys have done a phenomenal job, and it's really just transformed our way of thinking. So every step, we just try and understand and learn from, the mistakes. Like we're saying, where's the problem? Let's hunt those problems down in our morning meetings and fix things and improve it.
Oliver, I love that you're focusing on that, because this is really what management and leadership should be doing, is solving problems for the people on the shop floor. I learned this from Jim at Landtech. Landtech is a giant company. And he said, my job is not to chart the vision of the company, how we're going to do the next acquisition, how we're going to grow to 10X and all this other stuff. My job is to free up the resources and the ability for my people to solve problems. And that is what I'm focused on all day long. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. And that was you know, when we first bought this business, that's exactly what we tried to do. Let's put this amazing vision, and we're going to go and buy all these companies, do this, that, and the other, and it just didn't work. And actually, when we just, you know, we simplified everything, and then we weren't hunting that down. We were hunting down problems.
Yes.
That's when the change happened. Then the growth started coming to us, and we were able to react to it, and we were able to sort of look into the future because everyone was so aligned. You know, so when when Bolly came to us and they said, "Look, we need the most agile partner to work with," they saw us. They're like, well, "This is a no-brainer. We're working with you guys." You know, so it made it easy. So I'm going to pass you to Mark now.
And exactly what we've experienced as well, Oliver. We've had major, gigantic customers come to us and say, "Oh, if anybody can solve problems this easily, we're going to work with you."
And that's it. That I think you nailed it on the head there, Paul. It's that partnership, because at the end of the day, for your customers, they just want really reliable partners to work with. And if they trust you, you know, they'll go to the, you know, moon and back for you. So they can just, you know, that's where we've seen it.
And particularly now in this climate, trust and ability to deliver on time is even more. It's 10x, to use your words, of importance.
Or 100%. Cool. Right. I'm going to pass you over to Mark.
Morning, guys. I'm Mark Roberts, the operations manager here at
Hey, Mark.
How you doing? Hi, Paul.
Good.
I've been here about 6 years. I came from the semiconductor industry, so a little bit of a difference when I came here. But let me walk you through some of the things we've been doing. First area I'd like to show you is we've got a lady here, which we'll show you. This is an example of use your brains and not your wallet. We've got a lady here, you'll see in the background now, Jane. Now, she's one of the best people we have at using your brains, not your wallet. She built this whole table out of scrap materials. You can see the RFID tape, all the parts.
Wow.
And she's the biggest supporter of this we've got, you know. So this shows you with the lean, and every morning, as you'll have heard from Tom and Matt, we do the 3S in and we do the continuous improvement. So Jane's one of the people who gets the lean, knows the 8 wastes, and knows how to eliminate them. One of the things she's done with this, he said, "Great job, Jane."
Great job, Jane.
This one, she's even thought of the packing. So what she's done here is, as well as the old hinges, which are off a cupboard, she's put a packing table in so you can get your products packed on the line easily. You don't have to take them anywhere.
Oh,
just put a simple packing.
Gosh.
And it's really, and it is that. It's exactly that. Use your brains, not your wallet.
Jane, you win the award. That is it. You are on top of it. 100%.
And it's so simple, you know, you're not spending money. It's nice and simple. She gets it done every day. She's even used one of my favorites with Jane was we had 2 tins of paint left, slightly different color. So rather than waste them, she mixed them together and got a new color.
Mark, you got to go back to her. Mark, you got to go back to her and give her a high five right now.
Give me a high five for Jane.
Most incredible. Gosh, she's awesome. Hey, Mark, I want one more thing. I want one more thing. I want you to come in on the camera on this little sign that you guys have made, which I've never seen before. Yes. Use your brains, not your wallet. This is a Rototherm original. Look at
We copied it off one of yours, Paul, I'm sure. But
no. Well, you know, we learned everything from Japan, and we learned this concept from Japan, but we did not do this. This is genius. I've never seen this before. It's so well done. Good job.
The next area we'll show you, Paul, is our recorder cell. Now, the recorder cell, we used to have batch building. They used to build in tens. Used to take a long time. It could take weeks to build a recorder. You can imagine they're quite heavy instruments. And to move them around in tens was a pain. So what we did, we went to Sony, we saw some tube and brackets, and we built a one-piece flow cell. So now it's all a nice one-piece flow. We got all the guys actually, this is one thing we learned when some of the consultants left, we used our brains again. We just had all the people involved, and they came up with the cell themselves. We just sold the idea of the tube and bracket, and they came up with it themselves. They got all their parts available. They can just build things in an hour. I'll show you the day by the hour board. So what we do to monitor the tack time, we can build 1 an hour. We monitor on here. If there's an issue, what we got is a Again, no expense spared, cup system. So if it's green, the team leader can watch and he can look down because he works down the bottom of the factory. He can see the green cap. He says, "Oh, everything's okay. We're on the tact. There's no issues." If they got an issue, excuse my hands, they put the other one on, the red one on, so you can immediately, as soon as he can see it, he comes down. They don't have to leave their workstation. They carry on. And we thought it was the guys came up with this themselves as well. So it's a really good improvement. Just
Mark,
using all plastic cups.
When you and Oliver and Rob came to my place, did you guys go to Cost Taylor? Did you go to Cost Taylor? Did you go down to Cost Taylor?
No, we didn't go to that one. No.
Oh, that's interesting because Cost Taylor uses the same system, and I thought maybe you might have saw it there. That's very cool. So you guys came up with it on your own. I love it. That's awesome.
We probably saw it somewhere, Paul. I'm sure. So,
no. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. I love it.
The other area we got then is one thing we found years ago was leveling the load was a problem. We got an MRP system where it is a really good system. When the order goes from an inquiry to an order, it automatically goes into the MRP system. It prints the drawing. Some of those are very technical drawings. It prints all the bill of materials for picking. So what we were finding is a lot of the time the stores would just pick everything for one line. They said, "Oh, I'll do the recorder line. I'll do the temperature line," and they'd leave all the others. So what we done now to level the load, we got a high junker, simple tubes with days of the week. So you can see it rolls over. So the 25th on Monday. We're on the 21st at the moment.
Okay.
Yep.
So the stores guys just pick the one day, and the planning guy selects that, puts them in the right tubes, and they just pick for the one day.
Brilliant.
So the idea is the areas get their stuff on time, just in time. If we got any issues, we put it into the ouch section. And if we got any,
oh my gosh.
And if we got any part shortage, we put in the part shortage section. We have had, unfortunately, as you know, in the world, a few little part shortages at the moment with electronics and containers getting stuck in the Suez Canal. But it does work very effective, though. So we find
this
it's
is so
simple, but
so
really,
simple and
really
visual. Easy. And it's not hidden in the computer system. The entire flow is not hidden in the computer system. Incredible.
Yeah, it doesn't cost $1,000.
What we used to have, we used to just place all the jobs in a pile. And then the stores guys would grab them, and then they'd go off for like 2 days, pick them all. So the lines would have nothing to do. And then suddenly they got like 4 million parts, and then they were way overloaded. So they were going from like nothing to then massively stressed and then nothing. So this just, they've got a nice little rhythm for the day, right? 2 jobs left to pick for the rest of the day. Tomorrow they see what is. So it's just a really easy way to just level load the factory, and it's like, I love it. It's just probably like $2 to make this thing, or if that.
Oliver, all I can say is
maybe one.
So many awesome creative applications of lean that you guys have developed, and what's most interesting is you're a high-tech company, a precision high-tech company, and you're not afraid to cobble things together with tubes and wood. This is extraordinary. Well done.
Yeah, as Mark says, we learned from you and Michael and CTMAT and all other guys. That is one of our key learning points. Actually, is going and visiting other companies, and we always bring something back. So we always say, whenever we come back from somewhere, let's implement one thing that we learned. There must always be one single thing,
right?
And then we just action it. Just take the action. So. So that's our complicated planning system.
How long ago was it, Oliver and Mark, that you came out to our place? I can't remember.
I think it's 2019. Was it April? 2019. April 2019, I think. Paul,
okay, so a couple of years ago. It seems like almost 5 years ago.
It does, yeah. It seems a long time.
Wow.
One of the other things
Oliver and Mark, you're very good at R&D, rub and duplicate.
Yeah, we are. We're excellent at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's lean, it is, because why go through all that process? So.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing we did, which Paul says in his book, to build the culture, to build the continuous improvement, what we found is by having site visits for people demonstrating their work and things like that, we've really built the culture up.
Oh, big time.
One of them actually benefited us was we had the health board in the local area. Came here, they brought surgeons, nurses to learn about lean and what we were doing with the 2-second lean from Paul. And one of the outcomes of that was we started building visors, and we also started building. We were asked to build some face masks for the pandemic. So you can see In 2020, June last year, we decided to build a clean room from scratch, and using the Toyota principle of like 80% planning, 20% doing, we did all the work up front. So when we actually introduced it, we got a good partner on board with the clean room as well, and we managed to finish it. A lot of people said we couldn't do it. We actually finished it in July within a month.
Wow.
So we built this clean room from scratch with all the machines operational. We did have a few teething problems, obviously, to start, but we got it working. So you see, that's some of the lean culture at work and all the flexibility of the people here as well. The other thing I'd like to mention is the, obviously you've seen the poster from Oliver with all the cardboard. That's the actual walk we were on now. One of the things is, the big things for us is respect for people. So, and we found building the culture with the respect for people. Number one, we had, when I started here, it was cold, it was dark. We didn't have, very good lighting. So one of the things the management team's done is, looked at the lean, looked at respect for people. And from that, we've actually seen the culture grow, because they think, oh, well, these guys actually care for us, and it's a nice place to work.
Yes.
One of the things we saw out of that as well was we had, I think Oliver and myself were away somewhere, and somebody left after 35 years, and we didn't even celebrate it. We thought, God, how did that happen? So when we came back, we introduced this wall of champions, and you can see there's various people on here, but this guy here, 47 years, for instance, just one of the guys.
Wow.
He was a bit upset, actually, because we missed him by a month. He was so old, the records were out of date by a month, so we missed his anniversary, but we did catch him up. He was okay.
Wow.
So you can say, again, it's just making sure you respect the people, because we found then you get the flexibility, you get, we found with the clean rooms, getting all on board. It's very important.
I love that.
One of the other things I'll show you then is the daily meetings. So you'll have seen with Tom and Matt, we have a review and a meetings in the section. That feeds into a team leader review. And then we feed into it feeds down, always feeding down to the next meeting, because we're there to support them. We feed it into the run the business with the management team. So the aim of this is prepare and align for the day, support the areas where there's bottlenecks as a leadership team, and identify areas of improvement and fix what bugs you. So the idea is, if everything's going well, we have a series of measures on this, include the safety and the quality and on-time delivery and any supplier issues. But the main thing is always, where does somebody need some support? Where do we need to put some resources? Okay.
Does this make your job, Mark? Does this make your job as general manager? Does this make it easy for you to manage the company as opposed to other companies that you've worked with before?
Yes, it's a lot easier actually now. It's getting there over the years, and we don't stay still on these meetings. We review them every month or every 2 months as well, because some of them might change. One of the things we do, for instance, on this one is we change the host as well. So you can see there's me, there's Chris, Sawyer, Oliver. So we change the host every day, so that if somebody's off, you can just change it. We got a set agenda, 9:50 to 10:15, and we just go through a set agenda. We do change it very often because obviously we got to look what's right for the business, so we don't get the waste, and it's no value add sometimes. So we say, let's change that over.
What is the biggest thing? What is the biggest thing, Mark, that you would say that differentiates Rototherm from other companies you've worked with in the past? What is the number one thing that makes it just so different?
I think the one thing they've done is, the other places they've worked have tried to do lean, but they've done it with the value stream mapping, which I know you love, and I do not. So they've got a lot of things on the wall. Yeah. But I think here we actually practice what we preach by using the resources, So we've got the cultures. It's taken a while, like when we did the toilets and things, we had a few people who we thought, well, these are never going to do it. And I was on the first rota, and they knocked on my door at the time. I'm actually in the office, out open now, like you are, Paul, in the factory now. But they came to knock me and said, come on, I thought we'd be doing the toilets today. I thought, ooh. So it was incredible, really. So how did that happen? It was almost like I expected to see a little star in the sky that night, but they've all embraced it since. So. But one of the things was important was to respect them. So we did it with new facilities for the washrooms and the canteen before we asked them to clean them. So it was all that respect then, so they could see, well, the company spent money, they are looking after me, they care for me. and now we'll care for them as well. So it was important to do that because the other washrooms were like 20 years old, see, and looked awful, to be honest. So,
yeah. Wow, fantastic.
It was important to do that. And I still got the sticker from your place, clean the toilets of fast cups.
Yeah. Exactly.
I like that.
It all starts there.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I'll do now is hand you over to Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Cheers, Mark. Thank you very much. Hey, Paul. Hey, guys. So I'm Rob. I'm the Operational Excellence Leader here at Rototherm, where I've been working here for 7 years now. I originally started as a CNC operator, and then within 4 weeks, I was offered the job to become a lean champion. I had absolutely no idea what lean was, but like we say in Britain, being a CNC operator just wasn't my cup of tea. So I took this job and thought I'd figure it out later. And we had no problem whatsoever making the improvements. Our biggest issue was making them sustain. So we'd go into areas, make the improvements, and things would be going very well until we would take a step back and things would just die off again. So that was our biggest issue with not being able to get things to sustain. And a couple of weeks later, from one of our biggest improvements we've made, the other lean guy left, and now the lean team now became lean me. So we had to really look at ourselves at Rototherm and how and what we're going to do here. And we really needed something to change. And then it was one late night, I remember it very well. I had a WhatsApp message from Oliver, and he sent a YouTube video of some crazy American guy showing a video of how he and how he's implemented lean in his company in FastCap. So I quickly grabbed some popcorn, got some videos up, carried on watching it. I must have watched 5, 6, 7 videos that night. And then we quickly got to work, implemented a morning meeting. Like the first things on most attempts, it wasn't very good. I think we had about 10 people there joining it. But after a couple of reviews that we do, we're finally happy with the product of it. So every Tuesday and Thursday, we then decided to invite every single person on site. All those working from home would come, all those working abroad would remotely design and come in. And then, as I said, when we were happy to actually show, I'll just show you a quick video here. So once we were happy for everyone to attend and we were good on the product of it, we keep reviewing it every month now, every 3 months, sorry, we review meetings as well as all the other meetings across the board. And in these meetings, we put all the communication in that we find from any other business improvements meeting that we have throughout the day. So everybody knows exactly what's going on throughout Rototherm with absolutely no problems and no rumors, nothing whatsoever. So this is our new and how we run our morning meeting. So if you want to have it, just check out the agenda that we've got going on here. So the first thing to do, the presenter will share a trivia and question, interesting fact. And then this will open up the learning caps and get the guys engaged and get them ready to be learning something. We then cover the key metrics, the health and safety, the quality issues on time delivery, etc. Before moving on to gratitude, where the presenter will be grateful for something, as well as handing out grateful cards. We'll have 4 of those. There'll be 5 people every Tuesday and Thursday sharing and grateful about something. We then again, onto the people, we move on to the celebrations where we celebrate birthdays by giving them birthday cakes, work anniversaries, Roto stripes, what it basically is when they finish their 3-month probation here. So we celebrate that with them before moving on to the lean learning side of things. So the host will then pick either a Rototherm principle, a Deming principle, a Rototherm product, something to share. And then we will share an internal improvement video before sharing and finishing off with the videos on a 2-second lean community video. So that's everybody out there in the community of the 2-second lean, before finishing up with the visitors, the events, and all the notices. And then everybody in Rototherm knows exactly what's going on. Everything's transparent, nothing to hide. So you've got the teams here. So every Tuesday and Thursday, we have a different team that will be expected to show an improvement video. During COVID last year was when we really realized how pivotal and important these meetings were, when we had to stop them for a few months. When they stopped, 3S stopped, improvements stopped, Kanban replenishment stopped. You go to the bathroom and there'd be no toilet paper or anything like that. So it was absolutely chaotic, which then really highlighted the real importance, how growing a continuous improvement culture and sustaining it, it has to start with a morning meeting, So next up, I'm just going to pass you over to Oliver, who's going to talk you through our innovation process.
Yeah, just on that, one of the things just with Rob there is what Rob and the team have done is we found that even though the meetings were going really well, they just became stale after a while. So now Rob does with the team every 3 months, he just sits down, reviews with the entire company, the whole entire group, and gets feedback. And we will just put a change in to that meeting to keep it fresh, to keep it alive. And I think that's something probably we picked up at FastCap with yours. We're talking to Lucas.
Constantly changing.
Like, always changing. And I think that's what people enjoy. Even though the formula was great, we would just change it. And that's what we've done with all our meetings, because I think you tend to find after a while, it's like, you sort of just go and you just have a meeting for the sake of having a meeting. So that's that whole communication line from your 3S to your daily meetings, to the leadership meetings, to your 2-second lean ones. Always keep them fresh, always keep them aligned. And I think, it's worked well, hasn't it? Like
it's just worked very well. Yeah, 100%.
Right, I'm just going to swap.
Right, thank you.
Thanks, Rob. So
Oliver, I'm just thinking about that concept that you just said. I think human beings were designed to be curious and discover. And when we get in a routine that's so rote and non-flexible, then we suppress the very elements of how we were designed as human beings. So I think what you just said is really important for understanding humanity, and that we were designed to change.
Yeah, I think we were designed to, and I think you have to practice that as well. I think that's what we found when you actually start practicing it, and that's where that continuous improvement culture comes from. When you practice the change daily, it just becomes part of what you do. So I think that's where we've seen the change in our organization. Really take effect when people started to just do it, because that was just the way they do it. And I think in many organizations you sort of see, and I've been in the corporate world, it just becomes the same, and this is what we do. And it's like, I'm gonna move my desk 5 meters, and there's like an army of meetings just to move someone's desk. It's like, oh my God, is it really this bad? So that's typically what happens. So what I just want to cover with you is the development process. As I mentioned, for the first 8 years of this organization, we struggled with development. We spent a lot of money, we spent a lot of time trying to come up with new products, and we just didn't work, and it was just an absolute nightmare. In the last 2 years, we changed the process around. So what we had in place, we had too many people trying to do things. And as I mentioned, one of our non-exec directors, who's got 50 patents that he developed in his business, he said, no matter what the size, on any project, you don't want more than 1 or 2 people on this development. Otherwise, it just creates confusion, and there's just the decision making slows down. And we had, I think we had about 10 people at one point on one of our projects, and we wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was just insane. And the output was zero. I mean, I'll never forget this one project. We called it the Blue Box. We spent 5 years, and it was always at 95%. And we had all of the processes were great. We had these amazing stage gate processes. It's gone through, Oliver, it's gone through stage gate 4, and, look at all these pretty graphs, and oh my gosh, we found this out, and the market wants this, that, the other. It was just a frigging just a waste of time. So we literally threw that in the bin. That's never, that was about 3 years ago. And I then made a decision that you were not allowed on any project to have more than 1 or 2 people. That was it, forget it. So we just ripped everything up. And then we went through a sort of a simple 6-stage process.
Wow.
And this is back to that clarity point. What is it you're trying to achieve? Many times in development, we think we're trying to do this, and then the sales guys change his ideas, and then it changes. What is it we're actually trying to achieve? And the second one, which sounds simple, but it wasn't, is, are you technically capable to do that? So do you have the technical capability in your organization to actually make that happen? Don't think you have if you don't. Have you technically got that capability? What is the cost of doing it, and what price would we like the market to pay? And then what will the market pay? So, we think they want to pay 1,000, but they're only going to pay 500. And, you sort of, spend 3 years launching something and they don't want to spend that much money. And then finally, again, very important, what sales do we expect? So we're going to develop this most amazing thing, we sell 10 of them. So if we answer yes to this, and this is in a matter of, days, you answer these questions, we then say, right, we got a weekly meeting, 15 minutes long maximum. It's a 15-minute long meeting maximum. And then we sort of say, look, has anything changed from the week before? If it has, do we still have a minimum viable product? And what I mean by that is sometimes, the engineers and the development guys get really, fussy about this tiny little widget. And I'll never forget, there was, one project, it was like, oh, well, we can't get down to the 0.0001% of accuracy. And I was like, well, how many of our customers want that? Oh, well, probably only 3 of them. The other 1,000 want what we've already got. So, right. What is the minimum viable product there? If you don't have it, then you maybe rethink: are you going to carry on with development or not? And I think it's being brave enough to say, well, actually, we've spent 2 months on this, but the situation's changed. Let's just stop. Let's just not carry on. Let's not keep piling this resource. And that's where I'm made the mistake. We said, oh no, it'll work out in the end. We can't stop now. We spent 3 years doing this. And I never forget, with the directors of this business, we were talking, and he was talking to my brother. He's like, what do you mean? We spent 5 years. We can't say no now. But it just wasn't going to make a difference. Let's stop this. So, the result of that, we've changed and we've developed all sorts of products, from CO2 meters, this particular product here that does CO2, humidity and temperature monitoring. We developed this and got this into the marketplace within 2 months. And that is now in every single classroom across Wales. That's a product that we, that we developed. And that's just an example. And we get better and better. And I think to one of the fast cap points that Lucas made on Tuesday, Paul, is that speed. I mean, the speed that we can work at, it's like having rocket boosters attached to this company, right. And we're just going for it. I mean, there's just no one can catch up with you. Whereas it's like, oh, geez, no, it's going to take 6 months, and then oh no, then you need another 6 months for that, and it's going to be another 2 years. Now we're like, right, how do we get this done in days? How do we get this done in weeks and putting that product into the marketplace? And it's made such a transformation of this business that it's unrecognizable how it used to be. And I really never thought about development is just such a lifeblood of a business and going forward. And we were very focused on lean of the processes and the factory and everything, but you've got to really have that development process. And that's been
the speed at which you develop things. I often get this question. People go, what about your competition? And I always say, what competition? Would you want to compete with me? If I was going into your business, Oliver, would I want to try to compete with you? I would run for the hills. I'd say, let me find an easier target.
Yeah. This absolutely. One, I mean, so many times, this particular product, we won this contract, and putting these in because we were faster than everyone. That's right. And then I could name so many more examples of the 16 products we developed over the last 2 years. It's because of that speed. And I think that's sometimes people don't realize that having that lean organization all the way through, having that agility there, it allows you just to move at such speed. Michael Altoff calls it like a speedboat. You're a speedboat versus the tanker. So I'm going to pass you over to Alex. Alex joined us. He was in a software company. So one of the products that we developed was we wanted to take our sensors, our ultrasonic level sensors, and we wanted to get the data, instead of on the screen locally, we wanted to get it up into people's laptops or onto their phones. And he sort of came and joined the organization probably at the time when we really started changing our development. So he's going to give a bit of his background of that and talk a bit about that process.
Thanks, Alex, Oliver. Right?
Hi, yes, Alex.
Okay, Alex, welcome.
Hi, Paul. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on. So my name's Alex. I joined Rototherm about 2 years ago from a software background. So I had never stepped foot in a factory before. I knew nothing about manufacturing. I had absolutely no clue what was going on, and it was a complete leap in the dark for me, complete leap of faith. And boy, am I glad I did. When I came in, they were talking about lean and what it is, and I had literally no idea. I had no clue what lean was, and I went away. I researched it. I came across wonderful FastCap, of course, and I looked at a lot of videos, and so then someone said to me, "Okay, well, go and make a 2-second improvement." So I didn't know what that meant. To me, it meant go and make an improvement that takes 2 seconds to do. So all I did was sort of just move my pen slightly closer to me, and now I thought, oh, great, that's done. What's next? But then I realized that's not the case. Although technically, it does take 2 seconds to do, actually moving my pen closer to me was in itself a 2-second improvement, because it took me less time to get my pen.
Sure.
And then I understood, and having been from a software background, typically in software, you don't get lean. No, there's no lean nowhere. I mean, everyone, it's a complete mess in software usually, and you can't find anything. So when I got that concept, I had that mindset, and I could see it everywhere. I could see it through everything I was doing, or the file structures I had in place. The different formats of code perhaps that I was using. It was just all a huge waste of time, because if I was looking for a file and it took me 3 folders to get there, well, I thought, could I move that back a folder? And then that takes me less time, although it's maybe a second or 1 less click, it still saves time. And through that process, we managed to get our development of software down from, I think it was a 2-month release cycle at the time when I joined, down to nearly daily releases, to get the code in, get it fixed, and get it out to the customer. So down from 2 months to almost daily is a huge improvement. And that's down to, looking at the process of the software, the file structures that we have, the systems we had in place, condensing it, and it just blew everything out the water. And now we have the releases are so quick. People come to me and go, "Can you do this?" And you go, "Yep, that's cool." And I've done it in half an hour, because I know exactly where everything is, and I can get there quickly. So as Oliver said, we had a team of about, 10 or 12 people, and it took us years to come up with this thing. A bit garish, but this is one of our first products. It's called the Smart Reader, and it took us years and years to get to this stage with about a team of 10 or 12 people. And that was purely because we had to run every single decision, through everybody else, through a committee, and it just took forever. So we trimmed the team down. Unfortunately, we had to let some people go. But what that meant is we had 3 people working on this product, and within 6 months we had come up with this, which is I think it's the 3rd revision of our hub, and it has so much more stuff inside it than that did, and it took us 6 months to do over 3 years. And what I love about it is that product itself is lean, because this is a map of where this product is. It's, as you probably appreciate, in America, things are, a vast amount of time away from each other. And this product actually goes on LPG tanks, large gas tanks that you might find in a gas station. And some of those gas stations are 3, 4, 5-hour drive away, to go and this one guy has to go and take a reading on the tank itself, say, okay, I've got enough, and then come back. Now that could be a 6 or 7 hour round trip. This Roto Hub enables us to do that,
instantly
from their desk instantly. Yes. And what I love about this is that because of the lean process that we had developing it, we got this out in 6 months. We're also passing that lean way of thinking onto the customer. So it kind of staggers my mind where we, from our lean process onto the product, out to the customer, we are influencing customers to be lean outside of our own organization, which I think is just an incredible
Alex, because what you're doing is so compelling and so extraordinary and so unusual, they can't help but notice. And this is so important. Incredible story. Alex, I have to say something to you.
Okay.
Lean is for 2% of the people in the world, but you're, as a software developer, as a computer jock, the percentage of people that will see what you've articulated here is so minuscule. It's decimal point out to the 10th decimal point, because you understand that now you saw it and now you can't unsee it. You see all the waste involved in all this stuff. And most people, those blinders are never released, and they have been released on you, and you can see the path.
Exactly right. Yeah, no, exactly right. It's like I was watching a Disney film with my daughter, and you see the adult references in that film, and you can't unsee it. And it's exactly the same with Lean. So yeah, you're exactly right. Once you see everything in a completely new way of thinking, you can't unsee it.
Never.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time, guys. I'm going to pass you back to Oliver, and we'll continue on.
Great
Thanks
job, Alex.
Great. Yeah, great
passionate.
job, Alex. Oliver, his passion was over the top. It was just like, oh my gosh, we need another blood transfusion. We need to take all your people and need to infect the world. This is awesome.
We should. That's your next idea. That's your next idea, Paul. A hospital.
We're going to do it.
Transfuse for everyone around the world.
Yeah.
So, quick little thing. We've got Carl next. I'm just going to pass you over to. He's got a great story about some of the changes he's had, but I'm just going to show you a few little things as I'm walking back. This actual area where we're in, this rig that we've got is, this is one of our development test rigs where we test a lot of our products and devices and make sure the accuracy is there before we release them into the market. It used to be at the corner of the factory and, hidden away, and we just work on things and come back. And I was visiting a customer in, I think it was in Cincinnati, and they had their R&D rig right at the front of the organization where the customers came in, and they had actually their products on it, and they used it both as a R&D test rig as well as a sort of a showcase for their products. Mm-hmm. I thought, that's a brilliant idea. This is not a cheap piece of kit. So we moved it, from the shop floor into the front office here, and now we sort of run things, and we then changed other things. We started getting the products, everything we designed on here. We put them on wheels, we put them on boards. So sometimes if a customer's in, we'll wheel that board down to the particular area they want to come and talk about. But it just allows really, some things we thought, I would never use that as a customer sort of promotional tool, but actually the customers come in like, oh, that's brilliant. That's how it works. That's what it goes on. And we can actually switch it on.
Oliver,
so this is a flow rig. So this is, there's water. It's got a, variable speed drive pump on it, and it basically pumps water around this, this piping system.
What industry?
It can be multiple, like, oil and gas, energy, chemicals. So we'll be designing some of our, restriction orifice plates or our temperature probes. So the product that Matt was working on earlier on, these thermal wells, that we have here, we'll be designing some of the very basic designs on here, and then we'll be releasing them to the marketplace. So it's become quite a useful piece of kit for us.
Did you guys know about Valoric and Tubaloy? Because it looks like you guys have similar crossing
there is
paths.
a lot. There is a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities actually.
How interesting.
These are the little cool things. So one of our team members is into their bees. So we decided to release another product called Roto Honey, which unfortunately is just for our own internal use, our Roto Honey. But we've got our own bees now. So we've got about 6 acres of land in the back of the factory. So we've put some bees, and the guys love it, going and getting our own honey.
Do you know I have bees too, Oliver? Did you know that?
Oh, no, I did know that. Yeah. So
and we use the flow hive. It's the easy way to do bees. Are you familiar with the flow hive?
Personally not, but I've seen the team
we
go out
don't
there.
We don't even have to take the trays out. All we do is just put a bottle underneath it, turn the spigot, and it drains out. It's incredible.
Oh, that's good. No, I think we have to pull it and then put it in one of those drums that spins around and all of that stuff. So this is one of our kitchens that we have in the site, and this just gives you again another insight into how we've improved things over the time and try and make things easier. So we have our jobs to do. So the teams each day will come down on here. And this actually is magnetic paint. So, if you're working on here, so right, I've got the windows and glass, you see what you need. you go doing, and then the next person that comes along, instead of them going and doing the same job, they grab the next task, and then the next person gets the next task.
No, this is fantastic.
Eventually, until they're done, and then obviously when everything's finished, you just swap the headings over.
That's cool.
Nice and simple.
I like that. Yeah.
So so it just makes it really easy. You've got your Kanban systems. This is quite a cool idea. We've pinched from someone. We've forever taken bins out. This is a long pack bin, and it's got a month's worth of liners on this. So so all you do is you take this. You grab one of the things,
the ties,
cut it around, ties, cut it, and then that's job. So you only use exactly the right amount instead of sort of, sometimes you'll have hardly anything in there. And you're tying up a black bin bag. So it's just cool little things. Putting your microwaves up so there's not loads of dust and dirt underneath.
I love it.
And things like this.
I love it.
So it's just cool little improvements that the team do all the time. That we don't really recognize, in the sense that it's just, all right, that just makes it better. That's what you do. That's the way to work things. So I think today, just to recap what we've covered, hopefully you've seen some stuff in terms of the insight into our culture and way of doing things. The second is our innovation system. So nothing complex, just a very simple way of what we've learned and shared in terms of doing improvement projects and releasing new products. And the third is our communication system, how we drive that and how we make that happen. Another thing, so just before you see Carl, this area here, this shows we're always doing stuff. So this new electronics room is being built to cope with our growth on our electronics. This has been 2 days of work. So we planned it for a month, and it's 2 days of work, and they're going to finish it on Monday of next week. So it just shows that, Toyota is, I think they say 90% planning, 10% execution. And that's something that we've really worked from is just get all that planning up front, then execute, and you get it done, rather than sort of try and do something, waste a load of time, faff around, and it doesn't work. And those 4 things, just again to recap for that, Carl, that clarity. Every single thing I've found starts with clarity. And I'm sure, Paul, we've talked about that before when we were visiting your house. I think that's, if you get that clarity there, the entire organization, whatever project you're working from or what you're asking people to do, is understood. So you don't waste so much time. Oh no, I didn't really mean that, or we didn't understand that, or this is what this is not what we wanted. So yeah, clarity, focus, unity, action is a real key thing we work from. I'm going to just pass you over to Carl. Carl's had a colourful time in Rototherm. When we first took over, we used to have right here, we had this galactic sized paint plant that threw dust everywhere all over the entire. I hated this thing, and Carl was working on the paint plant, but within about 2 months I pulled it apart and got rid of the damn thing, and then Carl went on his sort of merry way within the business, and he's got a phenomenal story. So I'm going to pass you over to him, and he can share a bit about his time.
And Oliver, I have 2 things. One I want to tell you is we have a phenomenal turnout. We have so many people watching. It's unbelievable. And how long has Carl been with the company?
Oh, hello, Paul. This is Carl, yeah. How are you, Paul?
Good, Carl. How are you? And how long have you been with the company?
I've been at Rototherm now for 15 years, just gone 15 years.
So you're the man I want to ask the question to before you start. What you saw Rototherm before. What does it feel like now compared to the way it was?
It's a totally different place to work. We get visitors coming back here who maybe ex-employees who haven't been here for such a long time. And they just don't recognize the place when they come in. It's changed so much. The photographs that Oliver was showing you earlier of all the boxes and the cardboard and everything, that is what the whole site was like, literally from the front door to the back door. That's how bad it was.
How does that affect you as a person to go to be a part of a transformation like that, your daily work, your daily disposition, everything? How does it affect you?
It made it a different place. To come to here now to what it used to be like before. You used to just come here. You'd come in, you do your work, you'd go home, and then you would dread coming in the next day doing the same thing.
Keep going.
Now it's a different experience coming to work altogether now. It's just you're happy to come to work. Everybody's happy to come to work. Our actual staff turnover and actual sickness rate is very, very low, very low. When I was working here, previously, when we had all the chaos, it was very high, as you can imagine, because it wasn't a nice place to work. This wasn't a nice place to work.
So you have an interesting, challenging place to work now, as opposed to before it was boring, dull, and uneventful.
Exactly.
Okay, I won't interrupt you anymore. Go ahead.
That's fine. Okay, my journey started in that chaos, as I just explained. And I know Oliver just mentioned the powder plant that we had here. Well, to cut the long story short, we got rid of it. Oliver got rid of it. And I mean, to be honest, that could have been the end of my time at Rototherm. That was my job. But actually, Oliver said, look, we've got mechanical instrumentation section that's looking for an assembler. I'd never done any of that type of work before. I'd done a lot of manual work in the past. So I went over, I said, yeah, I'll give it a try. So I went over there. Within 6 months, I was running the whole section. He basically asked me, would I like to run it? So I did. And then after about a year or so, because we had different sections within the organization that all had different types of mechanical instrumentation. So we thought, okay, we'll just put them all together and then I'll run the whole thing. So that's basically what I've moved on to then.
Right.
Then I did that for a few years. Then COVID happened, as we all know, and we all know how devastating that was around the world. We had a huge problem in the UK, as I said, well, everywhere practically, on the shortage of PPE. We didn't have face shields, we didn't have face coverings, we didn't have surgical masks. So the NHS contacted us because they knew how quick we were in getting things done, basically.
Wow.
We'd never made a face mask. We'd never made a shield, a face shield. Big shout out before I carry on to Michael in Yellow Tools and his team. They helped us out immensely. It was great of them to do that for us. So we designed a new face shield. We got it into production. And then we had a year contract with the face shields to do. By the end of the year, we had made 4 million face shields, actually over 4 million.
Unbelievable. Wow.
We had to employ a lot more staff because the demand was so huge. So within that time frame, obviously things got worse. So after about 6 months, we were then asked, could we make face coverings and surgical coverings, for the masks. So as Mark explained earlier, we built this within 4 weeks. I then staffed it. There's my guys in there now, all working away.
We can't go in because it's a clean room.
It's a clean room, exactly. I could go in, but it means I've got a gown up and everything.
Right.
So we ran that. So I now run the whole part of Roto Medical. We've got a new...
Wait, let me get this straight. From powder coating, right? From powder coating to running Roto Medical. The question is, why do you think Oliver chose you? What did he see in you that he said, Carl, would you like to run this department and then continually advance you? What was the characteristic that he saw in you?
I think it's because I'm good with people. I ask people to do something and, they'll do it. They know that if I would never ask them to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. In fact, you will often find me in the clean room packing off the masks, as well. So I think they trust me. I think Oliver trusts me, which is a great attribute, and I'm quite proud of it. To come from where I was to where I am now. So yeah, that's really.
Can I
really
ask
good.
you a difficult question, Carl?
You can.
What is it in your internal philosophy that allows you to think this way, that you would pack the mass or you would do what other people, you wouldn't ask anybody to do what you would do? What philosophy, what's inside of you, what's inside your head that causes you to think this way?
It's respect. I respect the the biggest asset that any company I've got, and I don't care what company it is your staff. If you look after your staff, you respect your staff, and you'll get that back, you know, from them. If you treat them bad, you can't expect anything else back from them other than disloyalty, leaving, you know, the company. As I said, I'm friendly with everybody.
Where does that come from? Where does that come from?
I don't.
Carl? Where did you learn?
Know.
Where did you learn that? Where does that come from? I'm curious.
I don't know. It's just something. Just the way I've always been. You know, I'm just a normal person. I haven't learned it or anything. It's just the way I am. So yeah.
Okay,
and
interesting.
Just one more thing. Saying about innovation. I just want to get this bit in. We've obviously going back to how quick we can do things. We're now embarking on a new project, which will be starting within the next 8 weeks. We're going into robotics, which is brand new for Rototherm. We've never done that before. That's being set up as we speak in a different part of the factory now. I'll be running that as well. So that's going to be that's going to be something else that I'm going to be involved in. So I'm a great believer of look after your people, and then they will look after you, definitely.
Wow.
So I think that's everything from me. I'll probably hand you back to Oliver now, and thanks for watching.
Thank you, Carl. Great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it, buddy.
Awesome. Cheers, Carl. I just want to do a shout out.
You got a passionate guy there.
Can I just do a thank you to Lucy and Sophie, who've just been sorting.
You.
They've been sorting out
awesome.
They've been running around in the background, so they're doing an amazing
awesome.
job here.
Thank you.
So I in terms of questions and other things, Paul, Richard, I mean that was, I guess, a brief tour just to show you around the place, and if you got a good insight into some of the things we do and some of the things we wanted to get across today.
Well, honestly, there was so much that people have taken away from this. I mean, I've got notes galore, and it's interesting because you've explained everything so with so much clarity that there's only 2 questions that haven't been answered yet. Because your actual group in the conference room were answering some of them as we went through the tour. So the first question is, what's the best way to change up the meetings to always keep them interesting and fresh while sticking to the formula? That's from Brian.
Yeah, that's a good, really good question. And we found a bit of resistance to that. But what we've done is, what is the problem we're trying to solve at that particular time? Maybe it's you want to target a specific, I don't know if it's a sales meeting, a specific customer segment, or if it's a operational meeting, well, we want to go and work on fixing our, specific quality of a part of the product. And we'll add that into the agenda as the main part, as well as sort of covering off some of the standard items. So we're trying to keep the agenda fresh because business changes, day by day. So you're having a very fixed and firm meeting. You shouldn't think of it as we have to have a sales meeting because we're a sales team. It's what is it you're trying to communicate and share with your teams, and how's that affected? Don't just have a meeting for the sake of the meeting. What is it you're trying to communicate with the organization? So from my point of view and our leadership team, we're trying to always communicate. This is where we are. This is the status of things. This is what we're trying to get done. So at the moment, we've got 3 major projects going on. So we want to get them all working and done before Christmas. That's what we're working on. Amongst the other things, right? Making sure the place is safe, making sure that we're keeping our customers. There's a big problems in the supply chain at the moment. So how do we address those? So I think it's something you've got to talk with your team, but don't just have I think I'm guilty of this so much, and our business we just sometimes have meetings for just the sake of them. And actually it's like, well, we're going to have a month of no meetings. I think we have every Friday. We have a no meeting Friday because it's just a nice time to sort of reflect and catch up on.
Yeah, sure. Oliver, one last question I have for you. And what about your brother? He was the financial side of this. Is that correct or no?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he came from a.
Traditionally, they don't jump on board with the whole lean thing because you have to start spending a bunch of money to implement a lot of the things that you're doing. What was his take on the whole thing in the beginning and now?
So he looks at numbers. You know, he comes from
Right.
a financial perspective. I come from a lean perspective, and he could not see any difference in the numbers initially. So he thought it was a waste of time, if I'm perfectly honest.
Okay, good.
Initially.
Good.
But it was one of those where it was that or nothing from my side. So we had a fair amount of conflict between the two of us. You know, should we be doing this? Should we be, you know, why we're wasting all of our people's time for half an hour, twice a week? Why are we doing, you know, all the standard questions? But as I said, I think we could have stopped. And I think if I was maybe part of some organizations, the upper management may have said, well, look, we're scrapping this, but we just kept on it. And it wasn't after a month, it wasn't after 6 months, but I'd say maybe after a year or a year and a half, you just started to notice things happen and improve and get better. And then really when I'd say, I don't know, maybe 3 years, you know, where we started to then be able to bring products to the market, when we actually started having customers calling up saying, we really like what you do. When we started having people come into our different factories and like, we love this place. You know, why can't we come here more often? As opposed to feeling embarrassed. So it was really interesting. And now he sees the value of it. You know, if we get some customer into any of our factories, I can guarantee they will leave thinking, how on earth do we work with Rototherm? Right. So if I can just get them into this place.
Is he a believer 100% or just tacitly still?
No, he's a believer. I would say he sees now the benefit on the numbers. So he's like, wow, this really makes a big difference.
Right.
And I think that's sometimes the challenge, you know, initially, you know, with organizations.
It takes time.
It does take time. And
that's why we call it a journey.
It's a journey, and it's not always, you know, people say, oh, well, let's go, you know, just go and spend money that on that, you know, this, that, and the other. Sometimes you don't have that money to spend. You know, we can't go and just make the whole place look pretty. So the stuff that Jane showed you, you've got to use your brain, not your wallets. And the one, going back to that thing with Michael, you know, I was prioritizing saying, right, let's go, you know, sort the machine out. Let's go get the next, you know, load of IT equipment. He said, it won't cost you much, but fix your canteen and your toilets. And that changed more than anything our people. I was just like, really? I was like, come on, you really can't make that much of a difference. It made the difference because then they said, this guy cares, you know, and that really, after that, the whole system just
So I have another question, Oliver, though. Why, you said, for me, it was all or nothing. For your brother, it wasn't. Why was it all or nothing for you? What was it that made you say, I'm doing this and I'm not going to stop until we figure it out?
I hit the limit. I mean, it was just so painful, Paul, you know,
because he met you, Paul.
So many overdues. Well, I think before that, you know, I was like, it's got to work. And I think when, you know, when we sort of saw the outcomes of what you did, Paul, on your videos, and you just come across, I think, I mean, like Rob said, I mean, I do think you're crazy, but it's the crazy ones that change this world. Right. And it was just like, there's something there, guys. I don't know what it is, but every bone of my body believes there's something in this. And from where we are today to where we were, whatever that was, 4.5 years ago, I couldn't have dreamed of being where we are today. I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. And we have happy people. I have a happy wife, you know, when I come home in the evening.
Happy wife, happy life. Yeah.
Happy life, absolutely. You know, we've got a happy organization. And that makes more, you know, makes more than anything. So
Oliver,
that's great.
I've got more questions. Since I said there wasn't many, there's more questions coming. So what topics were in the learning section of the morning meeting agenda? That's from Tony. Morning meeting agenda. What topics were in the lean learning section?
Rob, I'll let you answer that. If you can unmute on your thing, you can answer that.
Who's going to answer that? Rob?
The lean learning topic on there. So the host will pick one of the following. Would be a Rototherm 13 principle, a Deming's principle, or a Rototherm product. And then they would then discuss the reason why they chose the video.
Good.
And why
I love it. Look at that.
Wow, beautiful.
Corner and show them the lean principles on the wall.
So clear. What clarity.
It is.
You ask a question and you answer it, and it's so visible. It's so easy to understand what you're doing.
So we talk about our principles all the time.
Fantastic. Wow, this is so cool. Amazing. You know, I did want to say, Oliver, you know, for me too, it's the same thing. I used to come to work. FastCap was very successful. We made a lot of money. Everybody recognized we won Business Star of the Year. And I'd come to work and I was just so frustrated. Things just didn't go right. And it didn't matter what I tried. And I was a highly organized person, and I like discipline, and I like processes, but I couldn't figure out my head from a hole in the wall. And I was pulling my hair out, you know?
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
When I went to Toyota and saw what Lexus was doing, I go, oh my gosh, this is it. And that's why, even though it was so painful, just like you in the beginning, I just didn't give up, because I was going to have that one way or another.
Yeah. And sadly, I've heard so many companies that do give up, and it's a shame. You know, they try, it doesn't work, and then it's even more difficult for the organization. You know, we've had a few companies come here on tours. They said, yeah, we tried it. Are we going to give it a go again? But nobody believes in it. And it's like, geez, you know,
it's pressure from shareholders.
It's sad.
Unfortunately,
isn't that a sad commentary?
Is. Yeah. Unfortunately, when you start on the journey, you're going to get worse before you get better, because you're pulling resources away from doing stuff, right? And I mean stuff, not production, because they're probably wasting 7/8 of the day anyway. So the next question: how do you track all your process improvement projects and follow up on the individual and collective results? That's from Michael.
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't follow up on a lot of things. So whatever's defined as a key project. So we run actually a number of key projects, and in the room where Rob and the guys are, at the moment we've got sort of 3 key projects. We will follow up on a weekly basis. So whatever's defined as key, that means it's going to consume, you know, more than normal resource. There could be like 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So the project that Carl's talking about at the moment, you know, we have a weekly meeting. The team are getting together, and we have some specific actions. Other stuff that happens, we don't track it. You know, we don't have the resource to track it. You know, collecting data costs money. It takes time. So, you know, and
another layer of bureaucracy, if I might say so myself, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so I got another couple, because I want to get a couple of these in before we finish. This is from Alex at Tubaloy. You know Alex from yesterday.
Hey, Alex.
What was the #1 challenge to turn the company around?
Good question.
Oh, that was a
make money.
I think. No, I think that was there. You know, that was staring at us. You know, we were, you know, we'd spent and wasted a lot of money, as I said. You know, money we couldn't afford to waste. So it was trying to keep money coming in the door and cut out the complexity. But it was the complexity that killed us. And sometimes it's very easy to sort of say, oh, just go and get rid of these products. Stop doing that. You know, we had so many. But when you're like, geez, I need the next, you know, whatever, you know, X order coming in, I can't say no to it. It was very challenging, but we just started to cut the complexity out. And that really happened by getting some very, very, you know, very focused on what we wanted to do and getting those meetings with everyone together. And actually, I think getting the honesty of the situation across everyone. Look, guys, you know, if we don't sort this, there ain't going to be a company. The 180 years of Rototherm of being around is coming to an end quickly. So that aligns people, you know, to what they need to do. And I said the same thing last year in the pandemic when Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, came on, you know, and he said to the whole of the UK, you know, stop going to work, work from home and everything. I stood in front of everyone in our group and I said, guys, I've only got 2 single priorities. This is when I didn't even know whether Rototherm would make it through or not, you know, because everyone was terrified. I said, I want everyone to be safe and I want everyone to have a job when we come back, you know, when this thing dies out. And the complete opposite sort of happened to us. So, you know, we're very fortunate. We're very grateful. The lean community, what Paul and Richard, you guys have created, we rely on that a lot. You know, there's so many things that happen behind the scenes, and it's all out of people's goodness of their hearts. Same with you guys doing these 2-second lean talks. You know, you do it out of the goodness of your hearts, but it changed people's lives. You know, you got 200 people within Rototherm Group. You change their lives, and you probably make them happier people when they go back home. So we're forever grateful.
Thank you. All right, we've got 1 minute left. We got 1 minute left, and just a very 10-second answer on this one. How do you separate your PPE production from the rest of the site from an audit standpoint?
It's done completely separately. So actually, because it can be contained in these 4 walls, it is actually very simple. So we have a different quality person who runs our Roto Medical, and we have a different system that runs it through, but it's still under the same limited company. So,
okay,
yeah, it's quite simple.
So last question we've got time for, and I think we've got to end on this one because I think Vince is asking this so that his leadership can actually hear it. How important is it to have lean driven by top management?
Well, there's no other way. I think, and I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it in organisations. You know, I'll just very quick story on this. The Japanese conglomerate I worked for had a Japanese factory, and they had another factory in Jeanette, Pennsylvania, and the difference between the two was like chalk and cheese, sadly. But it was just, you know, from the very top of the Japanese organization and the factory, everyone was so aligned, everything worked. It was just like clockwork. It was amazing. Whereas, you know, from the factory in Jeanette, you know, there's still a lot of chaos. They managed to clean it up and sort it out, but initially it was just so painful. So it's just got to be there. And I think many times, you know, there's a story with myself and my brother. If you look too much at the numbers, you may never start the journey. But if you don't go on that journey, you don't know where you get to. And like I said, it's just transformed our business, and we're so grateful for it. So I'm glad we stuck to it.
Excellent.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
You know, unfortunately, we got to finish. Oliver, it was absolutely incredible. It was really incredible. Oliver, Rob, Mark, Alex, Kirk, everybody at Rototherm. Thank you, Lisa, from AME, from Paul, and from the conference. It was truly incredible.
Brought to you by paulakers.net, where you'll find all Paul's books and lean resources for free, including the new 2-second Lean Play app, like Audible, but free. To listen to Lean is Lean on the 2-second Lean Play app at paulakers.net.